Hey guys, Andrew from Wilkinson Cameras here, and today with me I've got the Olympus OMD E-M5 Mark III mirrorless micro 4/3 camera system, the newest addition to Olympus's range. The E-M5 sits slap bang in the middle of the OMD range, above the E-M10 entry-level series, but below the E-M1 flagship series. The E-M5 is the core of the OMD range, owing to the fact that it's small and portable. It's rugged, but it's still weather sealed, so it makes it perfect for run and gun situations, but you can also use it as a way to push the limits of really what a mirrorless camera system can do. The E-M5 Mark III is of course the follow-on from the E-M5 Mark II, which was released in February 2015. Throughout this hands-on look, we'll see what this camera can do, what its main features are, and we'll look at some of the flagship parts that have been put into this camera, including the autofocus system that's come from the E-M1 Mark II. Of course, this camera is a great upgrade from the E-M5 and the E-M10, and most E-M1 users will actually find that this is a fantastic second body. And actually the control system has come pretty much straight from the E-M1, so you'll find it a lot more familiar in this compact setting. And don't forget guys, if you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon, so that means that you can catch every single one of our new videos. So what's changed between the E-M5 Mark II and this one, the E-M5 Mark III? Well, it's actually quite a lot. You'll find that it's a lot smaller and a lot lighter than its predecessor. And that owes to removing the magnesium alloy body and actually going for more of a composite material. It still features the metal top plate, and Olympus have actually assured us that it is more durable and more weather sealed than the previous model. Now, this camera does actually take the original iconic OM design and it's kind of taken it back to its roots. It's even freeze-proof up to -15 degrees, which for a camera of this size is, well, it's just straight up incredible. Now, Olympus have actually told us that this is 64% smaller and lighter than any of the other cameras in this kind of range from competitors, which means it's incredibly fun to handle and it's incredibly quick to get the shots that you want, no matter how fast your subject's moving and no matter how fast you're moving. So for photographers and videographers, something that's got all the features but it's smaller and lighter, that's a definite win for us. So the thumb rest and the hand grip have actually seen a size increase despite the camera actually getting smaller, which is great if you're using larger zoom lenses or even actually some of the bigger prime lenses. From the smallest hands to giant ones like mine, it does feel incredibly well balanced. But Olympus have actually released a optional hand grip that fits onto the camera, providing you with an extra shutter, and it makes it just a little bit more chunkier feeling for those people that are coming from DSLR cameras that want that larger feeling. And there's been another weight reduction as well, and something that not a lot of people kind of look for in a weight reduction, but the battery has seen a dramatic weight reduction, but kept the same capacity as any of the other models, so you'll find that the shutter count and the video length is actually exactly the same as any of the other models. And also the EVF has actually been made wider and it's got a longer eye point, which means for people that shoot with glasses on, you'll find it a lot easier, which is something that I know from a lot of my friends that shoot with glasses on, they find kind of difficult in a lot of mirrorless cameras, but this has actually been made a lot easier. One thing that we're incredibly excited about is the fact that the control dial has been moved from the left to the right, which makes it a lot easier to use, especially when you're kind of short of time. And don't worry if you don't like the new controls, because on the E-M5 Mark III, you'll find a completely customizable menu, and actually 8 of the buttons can be customized to whatever functions that you need. The function lever lets you switch between all these customizations with quite a lot of ease. It also doubles as the power switch. Now, this can take a bit of time to get used to, but once you do, you'll find it's actually a lot easier to use than probably the camera system you were using before. So let's get to the powerhouse of the camera, which is of course the sensor. It's got the new 20 megapixel sensor with the new coating, which actually reduces lens flare and increases your dynamic range quite a lot. It also features the new sensor cleaning module, which means it dusts off just a little bit easier than your last one. Matching that sensor with the new TruePic 8 processor actually gets you a lot better noise performance, up to around 1 stop, which puts you definitely on par with the flagship E-M1 series. So the E-M5 will actually shoot up to 10 FPS in continuous autofocus mode, or up to 30 with the focus and exposure locked, which is absolutely incredible for a camera this size. And with the new Pro Capture mode, it actually takes up to 14 pictures before you've actually even taken the picture. As soon as you half press that shutter, it's taking pictures before you even know it. If you're a sports photographer, wildlife photographer, this is just one of those features that stands out and you really just wonder how they've managed to do this. The processing power doesn't stop there. The autofocus in this camera is incredibly fast and responsive, and when you're using the touchscreen, you'll find that a press on the screen is absolutely instantaneous autofocus. The processing power in this camera is immense. So something that a lot of people were asking for about the E-M5, which is something that the E-M1 has had for a few years, is the phase and contrast detection for the autofocus, which means if you're shooting wildlife, kids, sport, anything that's fast moving, you'll find that the autofocus is a lot more responsive than it's ever been. Now, bear with me here, because as a videographer at heart, one feature that I always look for is inbuilt image stabilization. And I'm really happy to say that this camera has incredible image stabilization. 5.5 stops with any lens, or up to 6.5 with any of the Olympus image stabilization lenses. So we actually managed to get this down to 4 seconds exposure time on this, and the shot was actually still incredibly sharp, something that is demonstrated in this to the nth degree. This image stabilization really does actually set it apart from a lot of competitor cameras. One of the biggest features as well for a lot of photographers is the Olympus exclusive live composite and live bulb feature. Now what this does is it allows you to light paint, long exposure, and actually watch the photo as it develops. This actually removes as well the need for an ND filter, as these modes can actually remove any of the extreme lighting sources. For example, if you're taking a picture of a motorway and you want to get those light trails, it'll remove any kind of extraneous variables, which is something that Olympus have really kind of shone with this. Focus, bracketing and stacking makes an appearance in the E-M5 Mark III, which is perfect for anyone that wants to do any macro photography especially. With this, it'll take several images at a time and then kind of blend them all together in camera using some of the certain lenses, or of course, this will leave you to do it completely in post, and you can edit it exactly how you wish. And finally, the 80 megapixel high-res tripod mode is back, and it is as powerful as ever, allowing you to take incredibly clear shots of any landscapes, buildings, stuff that isn't moving basically. Definitely not recommended for your moving shots, but incredible detail and clarity there. On to my favorite part, and that is of course the video capabilities. Now, we've already talked about the image stabilization briefly, but I'm just going to touch over that again. It does actually feature a best-in-class 5-axis stabilization, which means if you don't have access to something like a gimbal or a simple hand grip, this does actually substitute for it really well. Now, you can use this in the way that kind of akin to a tripod with the digital stabilization built in. We've got some incredible results where you can pretty much replicate a slider, which does remove the need again for kind of your bigger items in your backpack. Just this, couple of lenses, and it's kind of job done really. So the E-M5 Mark III actually features UHD video capabilities and also Cinema 4K in shooting an incredibly high bitrate for such a small body and processor. In the Cinema 4K mode, you can shoot up to 24 FPS, and in the standard UHD 4K format, you can shoot up to 30 FPS. Something that I look for as well when I'm buying any camera that shoots video is the ability to shoot in a flat or a neutral style, which is something that this camera does have, which allows you a lot more creative freedom in post. This is definitely a feature that I'd say is pushing towards the semi-pro market, which, considering the price, is actually quite incredible. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean that it's not an incredible video workhorse, but if you're looking for a stills camera that shoots incredible video and incredibly stable, this is definitely one to watch out for. So finally, what do we get with this camera? We get a camera that features USB charging, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity in such a small, fast-handling body. This really is kind of a jack of all trades. Now, I really don't see anyone upgrading anytime soon, which is great news for you, bad news for us camera retailers, but with something this technologically impressive, we really don't mind. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. If you want any more information about the E-M5 Mark III or any of the Olympus range, go on our website, give us a ring, or pop into any of our stores. We're more than happy to help.